Good morning, everybody. It's Chris here from Serene Education with the 4 majors and notes update for the 26th of September 2011. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this Monday morning, and we've seen a lot of action overnight. Primarily this weekend, G20 summit, trying to thrash out a deal to try and save the planet, the world from collapse. Certain defaults on Greece in particular, scratching their heads, especially in the Eurozone. Talk going around that they might have come up with a plan and some sort of deal in the region of 1.75 trillion pounds being put together. It'll be interesting to see how they actually come up with that and if it does stick. But just looking at the charts daily, that just didn't stack up, and Asian market opened last night. You look at the hourly, for example, we saw a slight push higher and then ultimately failed to break a prior resistance level. Definite ceiling level here. CTC still negative, so no entry, no buying opportunities here against the major resistance, and we saw price just fall over, and we've been low ever since. Slight consolidation to the downside, but we are negative. Price is testing a prior support as we speak, so until we see a break below that, then we're not going to see any further extensions lower. So looking at the small time frames, hourly, definite bearishness in the pattern. We just need to see a break of the price support here. This candle, if I can get there we go. So the low of 13.3840. Need to see a price break below that. You can see price action on this hourly chart has seen price, but if it can consolidate above this area, then we could see a potential pullback occurring later this morning, going into this the latter part of this morning. 30 minutes, let's have a look if we can move that out the way. 30 minutes, you can see price fell to break a price resistance level, institution moving up above us, bang, 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 fall over. Just couldn't keep up with it, and obviously all the news that's coming out. A lot of people out there just don't see any reason why they should be buying into it. Yeah, $2 trillion stop measure, but where's the money going to come from? It just means more hurt, more jobs having to be scrapped, more tax having to be paid, more bailout funds that people just don't want to pay anymore. They're just so sick and tired of it. And I know, a lot of people just don't want to be end up forking out money for economies that just don't work with Eurozone. They'd rather see them default, go away to fight another day, and then take it from there. So yeah, market sentiment not really rallying with that, and we've seen price fall low because of that. So CTC on most of the time frames on the euro against US dollar are showing us shorting opportunities, but we're seeing consolidation on our smaller time frames. So look for potential break entry levels. Just make sure if you look at the relative strength index to see if you're getting any divergence as prices moving lower. Just you don't want to be faked on any trades. Here's a great indication of that on the 5 minutes. Look for a potential breakout. If you've gone for the wicks, see a noticeable support going from 5 a.m. GMT this morning through to the European session open. We saw a break lower. However, notice this candle's come all the way right back. This candle over here, failed to close higher, but would have faked on a lot of people. People would have been entered here. The stops would have been above the previous support, knocked out, and then you've seen price closing higher. So if you had entered in this, the low of this candle, your stop should be above the previous swing. In this case, above the previous swing at roughly the 13.4100 over here. Still haven't been triggered out. Still in it. CTC is in our favor. We could see potential prices sucking people into the trade before we see price reverting to the downside. Just look at your RSI though to see if you are getting any divergence as price is moving around this support and resistance level. We tend to see it. We'll probably get an indication that we could be looking for potential upside movement correlation as we go into this indecision start of the day. So if you are in this trade, make sure that your stop is above the previous swing. So if you're trading a 5 minute chart, then your previous swing would have to be this prior consolidation range here, above the 13.4150 or 13.4120 mark at least. No lower. It's pointless. Next up is sterling. We saw sterling actually found some support. Noticeable in the bullish engulfing pattern on Friday at the 15.3500 mark. So a definite bounce here. Psychologically, there's that area of support on that time frame. You could see sterling has really been hemorrhaging of late. Massive sell-off leading into Friday. Wednesday and Thursday were really negative for this pair. A lot of indecision at this area here, crossroads, and we saw price really hesitate. So breakout, consolidation, continuation. That continuation quite strong to the downside. Then we find a bit of hesitation now. That hesitation pretty much now on price support. Very noticeable price support. Get rid of that thing. Here previously, massive support area here, and sure enough we've seen a bounce. And that's psychological. You've got to look at it like that. If you don't look at the bigger picture, you'll never see these things, and you'll keep bashing your head thinking, where did I go wrong? Because you haven't looked at the major support and resistance levels on a bigger time frame. Remember, the institutions out there are trading not the 5 and 15, 30-minute time frames. They're looking at the ultimate 4-hour dailies and hourly charts. So look at those charts. You only will learn if you're looking at those time frames that the big money is trading. Otherwise, you'll be trading against the big money, and you'll be losing against the big money, and still sitting there scratching your head as to why you're losing money. So start trading like a big boy, seeing the pictures like a big boy, and you will make money like the big boys, guaranteed. CTC on our 4 hours, still looking negative. Look at that. Beautiful swings to the downside on a 4-hour chart. Hence the reason why I love trading 4 hours hourlies like the big boys. Less volatility, less wackiness, more definite entry levels and stop placement levels along the way. Fantastic for trading. Can see a definite bounce to the upside, even though euro is hemorrhaging, and we know the sterling is quite closely tied to eurozone. We are still psychologically trading at a support level, and we've seen the bounce. We could see very much it falling over, but at the moment now we're seeing a consolidation at a support level, and we've seen the bounce. Bounce hasn't gone higher than 38.2 fib of the extension of this breakout here on the 4-hour chart, and you can see clear resistance level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20 hours now resistance at the 38.2% level, which happens to be the 15,4500 mark. Fell to break even 15,4500. Could see potential as the last stop, and we can see price roll over and retest the low here at 15,3500. So make a note of that. Intraday, so 15,4500 on our 30-minute chart. See, the 15,4500 price is testing that level there. If we can find support, then we could see a bounce higher, and then we could look at ultimately the 50% or the previous high at 1549 as the first target, and ultimately back up to the institutional moving average as our second target. Next swing of that's 15,900. So you can see the higher swings going into this consolidation. Swing high, swing high, swing high. Noticeably though, those highs are getting lower. Price action is really starting to consolidate because we are in this consolidation band now, squeezing. Are we seeing potentially price looking bearish now sentiment wise as we hit the 38.2 fib area? Are we going to see price revert to the downside? We are in a consolidation area. You notice a bit of consolidation here in the past on the 22nd. We are heading into this area, so we could see consolidation potentially with further outside break to the downside. Got to wait for that. Notice swing low, swing low. Price is testing that area right now intraday. So that trend line, major intraday trend line in play as we speak. Failed to break above it, we'd see price being pushed to the low side, and we could look ultimately as our all-time low here at 15,3500, because we know on a daily is a very strong support and resistance level, being the first target again. Okay, our major target, 1545 to 30, that's 100 pips there, guys. Break of that 4,500, could look for a potential downside movement. The 30-minute is still looking bullish. Got to wait. We've got our red candle, red arrow. Look for the red candle. Look for the red CTC on the other side, which will probably come up on our 15-minute or 5-minute, and then you take the entry to the downside. Next up is the US dollar against Swiss franc. We know the Swissy is still gaining strength. Pegged its currency, the US dollar has been rallying ever since we broke the prior resistance here at the 89.50 mark. So just growing more and more in strength as the weeks have progressed since then, heading towards our next level, which is roughly around here at the 92.50 mark, either 92.50 or ultimately the 9300. So a bit of consolidation in this area here. So you might see a definite slowdown, but price is picking up. Slight support pullback Friday, but this morning, although the ghastly news that's come out, we've seen the US dollar rally against the Swiss franc. So CTC well extended a favor. If you look at the 4-hour, still the same consolidation. Notice that we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 We had 24 hours of support at this level, and we've seen a bounce on the Asian market session high, and that bounce is correlated with the swing highs. So if you look at the swing high, swing high, swing high, swing high, swing high, swing high, and breakout, consolidation, swing high, boom, and that's how you see it. CTC is still in our favor. Got our blue arrow, blue candles, CTC's blue across the board. Could have got an entry here. First target would be here just below the 9200 mark for this pair. Breaking above 9200, then we're looking at 9250, 9300, 9350 ultimately is going to be our target on this pair. So still lots of momentum to go to the next potential targets once we've seen the break of 9250. So looking good for CTC. All the time frames for this particular pair. So look for entries along the way, pullbacks, look for confirmation entries. Ideally, if you've failed to get into this trade on our smaller time frames, wait for the break of 9220 to see potential for a possible another extension trade to the upside. You can see a very, very strong upside movement since the Asian market starts. We had a breakout, consolidation, further breakout. That breakout is seeing price finding support at a prior resistance and a continuation. Look at that, it's beautiful. If you were looking this morning for an entry level, I'm just going to go by. You've got to see a break and close higher than this price support, resistance here going into the latter part of the Asian session. Woken up this morning going, okay, great, I've seen a break higher, got to stay above that prior resistance, because prior resistance becomes new support, and new support will see a continuation. Got to put together. Moving average or below, CTC in our favor, so we see a break, support, further support, entry would have to be above 91.12 in this case over here. Okay, plus the spread. Ultimately, 90.20, 200 is going to be our target. Bang, you enter it, and you are in this slight pullback as we happen now, but ultimately, that's going to be your target for this pair going forward. Anything that can stay above this area here, and then we should start looking for further extensions. Last pair of the day is US dollar against Japanese yen. Here we go. Oh. Mentioned for a long period of time that 76.50 was a very strong support area. Recently we saw a break below that, a lot of indecision. Friday we saw an up candle, US dollar still rallying against the Japanese yen. However, this morning on the figures that came out, we've seen the Asian market session pushing, well, trading slightly higher to start with, but the US dollar has lost a bit of ground this morning going into the UK European session open. So we're trading below 76.50, guys. Are we going to see price failing to find support at this level? Now, price support becoming new resistance, and we see a continuation lower. It could very well be. If this candle closes lower, at least closes lower than yesterday's candle or Friday's candle, then we're definitely seeing the resistance now. So price support becomes new resistance. A lot of wicks to the upside, a lot of momentum on the downside, more bearishness than bullishness, and we should see price being pushed lower. Next extension, who knows, because this pair is trading an all-time low now, so the low is 0. So intraday, we should be looking for potential downside breaks for this pair. Ultimately, a break below these levels here, it's roughly the 76.10, would look for potential downside to continue. So trading below 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute, all trading below the institution moving average, trading below all the moving averages, and the CTCs in our favor for the further downside movement. Hourlies also given the CTC further downside, so you could see a trade here to roughly the 76.10, 76.15 mark, but overall we need to be trading well below these levels here at 76.10. Little wicks, very wicky, but most importantly still trading below the institution moving average, as forming still lower swings, so dictating price action to the downside. So look for potential further shorting opportunities for this pair. Don't look for any bounces until we see a break above the prior support resistance level for that particular time period you're trading. So consolidation to the downside is still going to be possible for it's still the outlook for this pair going forward. So price is only going to look bullish if it's trading above 76.50 on our daily. If it's trading below 76.50, which happens to be price support and resistance, then we should be looking for ultimately bearish to the downside. That's it, guys. Hope you have a fantastic day. Follow the rules of CTC strategy if you are using them. Back it up with sound money management rules, and most importantly, keep your trading simple. Make sure you put in your stop losses. Make sure your money management stacks up, and most importantly, trade serenely.